And on season 3, we're coming back bigger and better. And Laria, it's up to you.
What?
And we can't wait to see you guys for season 3.
That's it. That's just a wrap. We're gonna put up a poster.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Four Friends and a Book. I'm Chris Colston, joined here with Isaiah Tukes, Kimberly Lake, and Laria Reed. So, of course, if you're new to the channel, Four Friends and a Book is our monthly podcast series where we have a discussion centered around a book we're reading here together. And so we meet here for the discussion, the review of that book, and talk about any topics that may or may not relate to it. And of course, at the end, we hit you guys with these rants. So somewhat of a book club, book review, mixed with just table talk amongst friends. So again, if you're new to the channel, please hit that like, subscribe, comment. We would love to hear from you guys. New and old, hit us up. Give us some book recommendations, any topics you want to hear from us. We would love to get that feedback from you guys. Any things you want to see new from us here on Four Friends in the Book, we would love to get that feedback. So hit us up, slide the DM, leave us a comment, whatever you want to do. Just give us a little input from you. So, all right, Four Friends in the Book podcast. We read books over here. Book for this month. A little interesting to read. You know, we're in this kind of legal thriller, political thriller, fiction book. While Justice Sleeps by Stacey Abrams, centered around Avery King, who is a legal clerk for Supreme Court Justice Howard Wynn. Justice Wynn ends up in a coma, and so his clerk, Avery King, becomes his kind of legal guardian. And again, he's a Supreme Court justice. They're in the middle of a kind of a critical ruling that has to take place. And just centered around him making a decision, but now he's in a coma. And so then the book just kind of takes off from that point, and it takes us all over the place. So let's get into it. Let's unpack it. Let's talk about it. Let's discuss it. Again, Stacey Abrams is the author. We're based out of here in Georgia. So for those that are here in Georgia, I'm pretty sure y'all are familiar with Stacey. I personally didn't know she was an author, but let's unpack this book. Let's talk about it. Let's get into the discussion about it. So look, y'all already know my first question. I ask it every time. You should already know what it is. What was your overall thoughts about this book? Your overall impressions about this book? Like, how do you feel about it? What were your thoughts going into it and after you finished? While Justice Sleeps by Stacey Abrams. And I'm gonna come to Miss Kimberly Lake on this. I'm gonna start off with you. What are your thoughts about this book?
Okay, so I love thrillers, like movies. That's like it's up my alley. And of course, I love fiction books. While Justice Sleeps, okay, I listened to it on Audible. It's a lengthy book, almost 15 hours. And I enjoyed the book, but for me, it was a lot of information and it was a lot of twists and turns. So it was kind of hard for me listening to follow along because it was just like this person, India, this, like it was just everything was just getting uncovered. It's like one of those nonstop uncovering kind of books. So I would be into it and I would get lost a little bit when it got a little too into detail, because Stacey Abrams is a great writer, but she's very detailed and she uses an extensive vocabulary. So that was another thing on top of that, because I was like I know I'm an avid reader, but I was like, I need to look up some of these words she's using. So it was that mixed with just the amount of information I got from the book. I think if I actually read the book, it would have been easier for me to follow because I could go back and read a page or something like that. But overall, I did enjoy the book. If you like thrillers, it was kind of like Scandal on steroids to me. So if you like that kind of book or that kind of story, you should read While Justice Sleeps. So overall, I'll give it a thumbs up.
All right, so thumbs up from Kim. Coming to my brother Isaiah, man, what are your thoughts about this book from Stacey Abrams, While Justice Sleeps?
Well, I hated the book. I'm just playing.
Look, you hold nothing back, huh?
I actually did like the book. The book actually holds your attention, from the very beginning to the end. And like Kim said, I had to go back and reread some chapters because I actually read the book because I missed a lot of the clues in the later part of the book. Like, she was really detailed. It was like a lot of twists and turns, and it was a good read, but it was just hard to follow along because there's just so much happening within that book. And unlike many books that I have read, this one just throws you right into overdrive as soon as you actually start reading it. It's no slow build up at all. And it really wasn't like any unnecessary character development. She just goes right in. Stacey Abrams just throws you into this corrupt political world, and you feel immersed in all this complex action and these character responses. And although I did not know what to expect when I purchased this book, but after reading like the first few chapters, I actually did kind of like the book, and I got kind of thrilled about going to the next chapter. And for me, even if I really didn't want Stacey, I know Stacey Abrams, she's running for, governor for Georgia, but if she wasn't running for governor, I would be itching, to actually read this novel. That's how really good it was to me.
Okay, good. So another thumbs up, thumbs down. What
Thumbs
we
up
get? All right. All right. Coming to Laria Reed on this one. What are your thoughts about this book?
Well, first of all, I feel ignorant because I didn't know Stacey Abrams had written books. I was so into her political career and reading who is this woman and what does she represent? And as a Georgia voter, trying to find out more about her. This was from the previous election. I had no clue. And I'm like, what? So when we said we were going to read the book, the first thing I thought was maybe this is a memoir or something like that. But I didn't realize it was a fiction book. And I started reading, I was 2-3 sentences in, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, this is a book for real. This is a real book. But she's a lawyer, so it was very thorough. Yes. She was very detailed, which you have to think about authors and how we are and how we communicate. And I believe she communicated in this book the way she actually speaks. And she's brilliant, she's smart, she's intelligent, but she still made it plain enough to where you could follow it and still be, thrown around. And the whole time I'm reading, I'm thinking, okay, so who is this person? I'm trying to think okay, was this based off of somebody we may have known, or did this happen somewhere along? Is it mixed kind of in with some realistic things that have happened? So it really piqued my interest. I enjoyed the book. I think she's an awesome writer. And she's got a gold star for me because I had no clue that she was so gifted and a creator like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Look, you kind of expressing my sentiments as well. I had no clue that Stacey Abrams was an author. Actually, now when I looked her up, she's written several books under a pen name, Selena Montgomery. So she's not new to this. She's done it for a while. Of course, we're based out of Georgia here, so we know Stacey Abrams, as Isaiah mentioned, from her governor's candidacy in 2018. She's now running again in 2022 for the governor election. So I primarily knew about Stacey from that perspective. But as you guys mentioned, the book is very detailed. I kind of nerded out, man. Your boy kind of techie, so I was up here taking notes. I was like, okay, this character did this. So I was kind of nerding out with all the details. Kim kind of mentioned it. So if you guys love Scandal, How to Get Away with Murder, House of Cards, this is right up the alley. She got to be related to Shonda Rhimes or something, because she was writing almost to that same level of detail. This murder mystery, twists and turns. I mean, people getting killed. Had a little romance involved as well. It was a lot going on, but I really enjoyed the book. I listened on Audible as well. So it was kind of lengthy, but it was very detailed. And it's kind of really laid the foundation for everything that was kind of needed for this book to kind of come together. I like the fact that she used a lot of accurate and like real world scenarios. Like to a certain degree, I can see a lot of this stuff happening in real life. And I was really just kind of shocked and surprised that again, the Stacey Abrams I knew as a candidate for governor was writing this book, and it was very well written, and just a good read. So I was impressed. I enjoyed it. Usually don't like fiction. I usually don't like fiction books, but this was a good one. Kind of reminds me of like a John Grisham novel or something along those lines as well. So good read from my perspective as well. And so kind of going to my next question. So we kind of talked about it here. You know, we know Stacey from her kind of political career. Again, we're out of Georgia, so we all know her as far as, you know, the race for governor, you know, being a city attorney in Georgia and Atlanta. So we know about her, you know, entrepreneurship and those things. But even speaking from that perspective and her now being an author, do you guys think that her kind of political experience or her activities within governance has kind of shaped her, I guess, her perspective even in writing this book? Or like, do you think that has had any influence on her writing as well? So Isaiah, what are your thoughts on that, man? So again, we know Stacey has been a politician, but also an author. Do you think that has had any, I guess, impact on her writing style, and in particular her writing this book while Justice Sleeps?
I think, as Kim stated earlier, like the verbiage that she actually used within the book, you can tell that she's a very thirst for knowledge and that legal mind. And when you actually read the book, you know, in my eyes, Stacey is brilliant and she's intelligent. And I have been following her political career, you know, since she did run for, you know, her gubernatorial race back in 2018. You know, even when she started even writing this book, I think the book was written in 2011. And Stacey couldn't even get this book published because publishers didn't believe that we could have such an egotistical president. That's interesting. You know, now fast forward up to 2019, and the idea of a sixth Supreme Court justice down in the clever hands of a law clerk, like you got to have some type of background in the legal perspective to even think about such like this. And I think it was like well written. I think, you know, with her background in the law and the legal system, it did shape the course of this book. And I think that did, you know, she ultimately, you know, shape this book by, you know, her background in the Justice Department.
Okay, good. Laria, what are your thoughts on that? So again, just her political career, do you think that has had an impact on her writing, and in particular writing this book as well?
I believe that it had everything to do with it, because if you were to ask me to write anything about legal anything, I wouldn't know where to start. I mean, it literally showed everything behind the scenes, what happens. I wouldn't have known the jargon, how it goes behind the scenes, how to address certain things. I would have never even known that. So I know for a fact with the way she wrote and the way things are, that helped tremendously. That's why it was such a good read, I believe, because, you know, that's kind of like asking me to write something in an area that I love and that I'm very familiar with. It'll be easier for me to do it and to tell it from a realistic standpoint. Because as I was reading, I was thinking about Scandal, and the whole Kerry Washington, because I was a big Scandal fan from start to finish. So I believe that it was kind of, you know, I feel like the writers of those shows have information about how those, you know, how it works behind the scenes in the White House. Same thing with her. She has behind the scenes information as a person who works in that area and as a lawyer, you know. So yeah, I believe it shaped everything.
Okay, good. Ken, what are your thoughts on this topic? So do you think Stacey Abrams' kind of political career and even having that perspective, you know, has influence in her writing skills or writing ability? And like I said, especially with writing this book that really goes into very good detail as far as kind of our justice system here in the United States.
Absolutely, because when I was reading it, like the quote that was coming to me is like art imitating life. I think this book is like that for Stacey. I remember bringing up Scandal again. I remember reading an interview with Shonda Rhimes, and she said people that actually worked in DC would come up to her and be like, how did you know it was really like you're pretty accurate about this happening, this happening? So I think with Stacey, it's the same thing. I have no doubt, as fantastical, I don't know if that's a word, but as fantastical as the story and the plot line is, and like how it's just crazy, I just don't believe that's far off from real life too. So I'm sure I wouldn't be surprised if her and her politician friends get together and talk and stuff, and she just be grabbing stuff from real life stories that she's heard. So I think it had everything to do with the book she wrote and what made it a really good read.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good. And I think you guys all bring up good points. I definitely think her career in pop, in the legal side of things, and also in politics, has kind of influenced her writing. I like the fact that she used a lot of realistic perspectives. So even showcasing the fact, or even kind of the oversight that, we have these Supreme Court justices that are appointed, and it's a lifetime appointment. But there is no coverage or oversight for if they are incapable of performing their duties. So she even referenced, the 25th Amendment, that, it kind of outlines what happens in the event the president is unable to carry on these tasks, and kind of the process for taking account for that. But there aren't any, kind of laid out or amendments that really outline what happens for a Supreme Court justice. And, we've seen it even, in our time now, how important it is to have, Supreme Court justices, and even the process of them being appointed, how critical that is. And so now to think about the fact that in the book, for example, Justice Wynn, he's in a coma. So like, what do we do? You have a Supreme Court justice, he's in a coma, but technically he's still alive. So like, can I appoint somebody else? Can I not? So just the fact that she brought out and kind of highlighted, that gap in coverage that even, today, if that were to be a real event, like there's no process, there's no plan in place to even account for that. So I thought it was great that she really brought a lot of reality, even though this was a fiction book, that she brought a lot of reality in her writing. Of course, it seems kind of far-fetched, but it also seems very plausible that these things could actually be happening, with just kind of the cover-ups and the scandals and just the things that are involved as far as the optics that are necessary within government. So it was a lot. I'm pretty sure she done seen and heard some firsthand accounts, and that probably all had impact on her writing this book. So yeah. All right, so I kind of mentioned it earlier, even just in the reference to her. Like I said, I think of John Grisham, also a lawyer that's turned author and has written some great books that have also gone to film. So while reading this book, you kind of really visualize and picture this being brought to a TV series. That we've mentioned Shonda Rhimes. Like I said, I think her and Stacey got to be cousins or something, because they on the same page. So if this was turned to a series, like a TV adaptation or even a movie, again, the main character, Avery Keene, who would you guys cast in that role? Who would you want to see portraying Avery, if this came to the big screen, or even as far as a TV series? Maria, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I was thinking it's supposed to be somebody younger, but I think she could pull it off. Just in my head, I think look, my friend's in my head. So I really think one of the twins, Tia Mowry, I think she would do really good in that role. Because she's a really good actress, and she can play a lot of different roles. Her sister Tamara, she's really my favorite, but she's more of a softer role. But Tia could be hammer down, and she could kind of back up a little bit. But I think she would be really good for that role. That's my person.
Okay. So yeah, even for me, I was kind of thinking about this question. So again, Avery was the main character, one of the main characters throughout the book. I mean, brilliant mind as well. Like I said, she's a lawyer and a clerk for the Supreme Court Justice. Again, kind of starting her career off. So when I was thinking about it, I was like, who would really kind of fit that role or could kind of really bring that to screen? So I was thinking about like Yara Shahidi, I think her name. I thought she might be a good fit for that. I can kind of see her taking on that role. I kind of thought about like Zendaya, something like she possibly, as well, but just Avery was a critical piece and component and just a brilliant mind as well, as far as even putting this puzzle together of this mystery, this murder mystery, and doing all this stuff. So I was thinking about those two possibly being like the kind of star lead roles that are actresses that could kind of take on that. So, yeah. Kim, what are your thoughts on that? So if it came to the big screen, who would you like to see playing the role of Avery King?
As a film director, I thought about all this, but actually my pick, it would be Zendaya, because I feel like she fit the description and I think she has the range to play that. If you see like Euphoria and all that stuff, you see how she be acting. So I think she has the range to play this kind of character. So she's like the first person I thought about. If I were to cast it, I would put her as Avery.
Okay. So look, we're on the same page on that one. Isaiah, what are your thoughts, man?
My thoughts from, just, reading on Avery within the book, you did say she was a main character, how she portrayed herself was she was strong yet vulnerable, within the book. So I would cast actually Keke Palmer as Avery, and when I thought about, the work of Keke Palmer, she has like very diverse body of work and she can definitely portray her, but, from her being on Broadway and, from her childhood, even basically her episodes of growing up from Disney. So I just thought about all the work that she's did, and that what connected me to her of playing the role of Avery.
Okay, good. So look, in the last episode, I was talking about my girl Halle Berry, and she don't quite fit, but maybe in her younger years, she might. What can I say, man? I think I still support her. All right, so somewhat of some bittersweet news. This is kind of our final episode of season 2. Like it's kind of amazing to think we started this podcast a little over a year ago, and we're now actually at season 2 or the conclusion of season 2. So kind of wanted to take this time to kind of reflect a little bit, talk about some of our favorite books, our favorite moments, things that we've done within season 2, and kind of reflect on those. So again, not really related to the book we just read, but just taking this time to kind of take a look back over our season 2 journey. So let's kind of unpack that one. So favorite book from season 2. So we read several this season on Fourth Friend in the Book podcast. So my first book being Will. We also read Deacon King Kong by Jane McBride. The Conversation by Hill Harper. How the Word is Passed by Clint Smith. Black Cake. Who was the author on Black Cake? I forgot.
Charmaine Wilkerson.
Yes, Charmaine Wilkerson.
Yeah, Charmaine Wilkerson, Black Cake. The Heads of Color People, and also Their Eyes Were Watching God. So, and of course, we just finished this book up here while Justice Sleeps. So, favorite book of season 2. Kim, what was your favorite book from season 2?
I had a hard time trying to pick, really, because I feel like we had some really good picks. Black Cake, my island heritage and Conversation on relationships and all that stuff. But I think I got to give it to Big Will, because I think that was a really great book. I think I really got it's a memoir, but I feel like I got a really good picture of like the real Will And even when all the scandal and stuff happened, I was like, ooh, I probably know why, because he talked about it in the book. So all that kind of stuff. So I just think Will was a great book. The Audible book was awesome. I think everybody that does Audible books, they should listen to Will and replicate it, because it was really interesting and fun. So it was hard, but I picked Will as my favorite book of the season.
Okay. So we got one vote for Will. Isaiah, what are your thoughts on that? It's a favorite book from this season 2 that we've covered here on Four Friends in a Book.
You already know what my favorite book was. I'm biased. It's Will. That's my favorite book from this actual season. I just know that Will, his memoir was a great memoir. One of the best memoirs that I actually read. And that says a lot, because I read a lot of memoirs. And with Will, he poured a lot of heart and soul into his book, digging up deep, sharing his experiences, his wisdom, and some of his personal truth. And you just get like a rare insight to his life and to his family as well too, and his vulnerability as well as his bravery, of being that individual person. And a lot of things actually made sense once you actually read his memoir, or how he actually went through his career and why he did the things that he did based on how he actually grew up in his childhood. Even with Will, the reason why I, inspired to him, because he just inspires you to actually be a better person, for me. And this book actually had a lot of, stories and a lot of lessons, especially with the first one with laying those bricks with him and his brother. And that was why I actually gravitated. And that was actually a good read for me. That's why that's one of the best, books that I actually read. And that's my favorite, book that we did read this season.
Okay. All right. So look, two votes for Will by Will Smith. All right. Maria, you gonna keep it going? What was your favorite book from season 2?
Look, I got a tie, but it's for different reasons. Like, I'm like, 2 of our books that we've read, and one, Lord, now I forgot when no one. What's the book name? Lord, Zordale Hurst. Oh my God!
I've been watching God.
God. I don't know what just happened in my brain, but it just left me. Their Eyes Are Watching God. It's a classic. I saw the movie. The movie did it no justice. I'm so grateful that I read this book. It was very good. It was I felt like I was there. The entire book. And so I really enjoyed that. And right next to it, of course, is Will. That was a really, really good book. It's like 2 memoirs it's a couple of memoirs that I really like. I love those. But I really like Will Smith's, because I feel like he gave us everything. He left nothing closed off, nothing unturned. So when the whole slap thing happened, I felt like I knew what happened before. I felt like I was there. I felt like I wanted to go on stage and pull him back and be like, we're not going to do this. You don't have to do this, Will, because you can't protect everybody. He went back to being that little boy trying to protect his mom. I felt like and I still have empathy for him, because I read his book, and not read it, but I listened to it on Audible, which was amazing. But I think everybody should read that book, and it inspires you to want to do whatever it is your path is, your purpose, your passion, to go full-fledged. I mean, he may be a little radical with it, but it just shows why he's so successful at what he does. He's amazing now. I mean, you can say what you want to say, and he has made mistakes just like other people. His was very public, but I really feel that book was a good book. I mean, that was a good one.
That's good. That's good. Oh, Big Willie, Will Smith, huh? Oh man, I thought about this as well. And your boy love history, but I guess I gotta give it to Will Smith as well. And we didn't even honestly, we didn't talk about it. So y'all, those that are watching right now, y'all might think this is scripted. Not at all. We didn't talk about this before or anything. But yeah, the Will Smith memoir was very good. I mean, that was our season opener for season 2. As Kim mentioned, the Audible version was just awesome. His performance, his performance of his book was like award winning. Like it was just a great story. I think even just the fact we know so much about Will, it was so relatable. So I think that was a piece that kind of drawed us in. Like I said, we all know his story, his early rap career, Summertime. It's been a classic song, and him winning Grammys, and then even going to the big screen, becoming an actor, Independence Day, like all these movies that he's done. I feel like we were just all connected to him, and so we were so intrigued to get the backstory, the behind the scenes of Will Smith. And like I said, he put it on the table, he put it all out there, and I think that's why, for me as well, it was one of my favorite reads for this season 2. Definitely want to hear that follow on. Like I need to know what's going on with Will right now, after the slap. So we kind of got some insight pre-slap, but I would be curious to know.
After the slap, but there you go. After the slap.
Yeah, like I would be curious to know like his thoughts to be on paper now, as far as kind of how he views the situation. Even to hear that insight as well. So close second, your boy love history. How the Word Is Passed, Clint Smith. Like I can't not mention that book. I was just, I ain't got no hair, but the hair was blown back. Just in awe from the research and the things that he's done to shed the light on the history of this country and some of the things that have gone on and things that have been covered up. And so I really appreciate his book as well, because your boy loved history, and I think that was also another good read and a good selection. So, again, we covered a lot of great books on this season. If you guys haven't already, please go back, check out those episodes. And even if you haven't read those books, go back and pick them up as well, and just kind of catch up on some good reading. Like I said, we had a great list of books for season 2. So I think you guys could probably find something that you really appreciate throughout this season that we've kind of, on this journey we've taken with reading these different books. What are you guys excited about as far as what may be coming, like for next season? Like, what are your thoughts? What are your expectations? Any new ideas you're willing to share for next season? I'm gonna start on this one. I'm looking forward. And I want us to be able to get beyond these 4 little boxes right here. I don't know if we're going to be able to pull it off, but I think that'll be dope for us to kind of get into a space where we can all kind of record together and just have this more interaction. So I'm kind of excited about that. I'm also excited about just the variety of books that we're reading, even how it's forcing me outside of my own comfort zone. Like, again, I love history books, but maybe in this book we read for this month, was a great read that I probably would have never have read on my own. So our reading list is forcing me to kind of step out of my comfort zone and read and kind of expand beyond things I would normally pick up. So I'm really excited about that as well, just the books to come, and also us potentially being able to kind of move from these little boxes right here and get in some space or whatever. Isaiah, I'm coming to you, brother. What are your thoughts on that? So season 3, what are you excited about coming up next?
Well, I'm excited about, first I want to start where we are at this moment. When I actually even think about this show, like we are 2 seasons in from just an idea that we actually had. And when I think of this show, I just think of the importance of community and the importance of, people progressing. The common goal is actually just to read and explore, the commonality of the minds. And I just like how we just actually use this platform as just a safe space and just allow each other to express their thoughts. And even in the difference of opinions, respect is always on the forefront amongst us. And my goal for this show is just a desire to just give the viewers an outlet to just learn and grow with us. And this show just basically have impacted me, and I know it have impacted you all as well too, just to serve others and just give them an outlet to read with us and explore with us, like we're learning and growing just as long as with you all as well too. So just join us on the train ride, because we're going to keep going forward.
Okay, that's good, brother. That's good. All right, Kim, coming to you. What are your thoughts about upcoming season, or just things you may be getting excited about as we continue on this journey of Four Friends in a Book podcast?
I have two things. I agree with you on the look. I think it'll be cool season 3 to have a different look for our show. So keep us in prayer. I think it'll happen. And the second thing is, I think I'm looking forward to our audience growing and us interacting with our audience. I feel like we're starting to grow and starting to get some momentum organically. Like, we ain't out here buying followers and all this other stuff. So I think it's cool. Like, I'll get messages or people, I'll tell them to check it out. And they're like, oh, the show's, it's a really good podcast. It's a really good show. People checking it out, and the feedback we've been getting back from people that check us out. So I'm looking forward to our audience growing and us interacting with our audience in season 3.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, guys. And again, we appreciate all your support. Continue to hit us up, give us that feedback. We want to hear from you guys. So yeah, that's awesome. All right, Laria, coming to you. Season 3 coming up next. Like, what are you excited about for Four Friends in a Book?
I'm excited about it all, especially the new books. That's like the leading thing. Like you said, Chris, I would never probably read some of the books that we've read on my own, but it's opened me up to a lot more genres and, finishing books and things like that. I've enjoyed that. And I'm also, I can't wait until, and it might be seasons later, it might be next season, where we can go back and look at ourselves and see how far we've come, starting, from season 1, when we first started, to now is different. But looking at us like down the road, because, you should never despise small beginnings. And we're starting from the bottom, start from the bottom, but you never know where we can end up. So I just feel like one day we're going to go back and look at even this show and be like, remember when we were on these 4 boxes and we didn't have a studio and we didn't have authors coming in? We can take this as far as we want to go, because we have the mental capabilities between the 4 of us to get it done. So I'm just excited about our future and where we're headed, because it's only up from here.
Hey, the sky's the limit. All right, national talk show. Let's go. Speak it into existence. I'm ready to quit my job. So, hey.
Throw in that 2 weeks notice.
That's good. That's good. And again, guys, we just appreciate you guys for rocking with us on this journey. Like I said, we started this podcast a little over a year ago, and it's just amazing to think that we're even in season 2 and how far we've come. So, yeah. All right. So look, we end this season, but we got to end on our normal note. We can't skip this. We got to hit you with it. You know what time it is. Our favorite episode, or our favorite segment of our show, which we call The Rant. 60 seconds, uninterrupted. We don't debate. No long, drawn-out discussion. Just speaking from the heart, whatever's on your mind, from the rant man himself, Mr. Isaiah Tukes. He killed these rants every episode. Again, we never know what we're getting. But my brother, do what you do. 60 seconds, starting now. Go.
Former President Donald Trump's home was executed search warrant by the FBI. And the GOP has actually took this as a whirlwind spectacular. First, I want to say, can we start with no former president has ever been subject to a raid of their residence? 1, it wasn't a raid. It was an executed search warrant. 2, the FBI never had a reason to execute a search warrant for a former president's home. Trump and his camp has been dangerous since 2016, yet it took 2 impeachments and insurrection for social media to even remove him. And we constantly have people clamoring about free speech and rights of people who have been endangering other people and trying to strip them of their rights altogether. And I just wish y'all would just stop hearing their mess, antics, and pretending like that this is actually non-existent in these arguments. And they act like Trump should get away with what he has orchestrated and encouraged, not because it wasn't illegal, but because they feel that they can do whatever they want without any repercussions. This is a perfect example of a toxic racist privilege. And that is that on that.
Even thinking about the book we just read, and even the stuff that was going on with the president in the book, so it's crazy to even think about. Just what's going on now, and even that the fact that we are or have had a president is at this state. So, good rant, brother. And again, we appreciate you shedding the light and just giving us this information. All right. So again, we're wrapping up season 2. Don't fret. We will be back. Taking a little break for ourselves. Take a little time to kind of just regroup, kind of plot and scheme for season 3. And again, if you guys have recommendations, definitely hit us up. Give us that feedback. We want to hear from you guys. But Isaiah, give them a little insight. Give them a little something about how they can keep up with this in the meantime.
Well, first, guys, before we let you go, I just want to thank you so much, and we all do want to thank you so much for just joining us with season 2. As Chris said earlier, just let us know what you're actually reading. We want to be engaged as well too. Just give us some new book ideas. What you think that we should talk about on this show? We love to know your thoughts of what you actually reading as well too, and just join us on the ride, because season 3, when we come back, we're coming at bigger, better, and stronger.
Yeah, we want you guys to check us out. If you missed any of our episodes, please go back, watch our various books that we've gone through. I promise it'll hold you over until we get back to season 3.
And make sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram. And you guys, we have reached our goal of 100 subscribers. So thank you all for subscribing. Continue to share our content. Like us when you're on YouTube. Comment. Helps us with that algorithm, and other people get exposed to us.
As always, guys, we thank you for your support, and let's continue to read, let's learn, let's grow. Let's have a discussion here on 4 Friends in a Book. Thank you.